gardens today for my artist state, and I just love it here so much. I just love being surrounded by the greenery, the plants, all the people. I love how lively it is here. Oh, I just love it here. So, the Artist Way week 4. I honestly don't have much to share this week. I didn't really write down any morning page reflections or favorite quotes or anything. The biggest thing that happened this week was the reading deprivation challenge. That's what Julia Cameron calls it in the book. It's essentially a detox from consumption. So, no TV, no social media, no reading, even. We did all of that. I'm just looking at my notes. We did all of that. No podcasts, no YouTube. The only thing we allowed was music. And the challenge was for 7 days. And it was really hard. Really, really hard. First couple of days, honestly, I was feeling quite down and really bored. I feel like my brain can't tell the difference between bored and feeling down. Everything just kind of mishmashes into one thing. My husband was doing this challenge with me as well, so that was nice. About halfway through the challenge, we both caved and ended up watching TV and YouTube. We were able to stay off social media for the entire week, and that actually wasn't too hard. It actually felt quite good to not feel that urge to scroll and keep on top of what's going on in everyone's lives and um, just kind of have a break and forget about it. Yes, I didn't forget about it straight away, but after the first 1 or 2 days, it honestly wasn't that hard. I've constantly been consuming and getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit pretty much for as long as I can remember, like most people, I think. There's not a moment where we're not picking up our phones when we're waiting for an appointment or listening to a podcast while we're driving or eating, watching TV while eating. There's always something running in the background, and there's not really a moment to feel quiet or bored. At least that's what life's like for me. So this challenge was really interesting in that I actually got to see the difference between how I feel when I'm constantly consuming and how I feel when I stop cold turkey like this. I don't even think I felt that level of boredom in a really long time. So it was interesting to compare the two different states. It kind of emphasized the need for more balance in my life and less consumption. For my artist date this week, I went on an evening visit to my local library. I love libraries so much. It's so easy to turn my mind off and just focus on what's in front of me. I found myself spending most of the time flicking through cookbooks, and I found Shannon Martinez's cookbook, which I've been meaning to buy for ages. She's the chef at Smith& Deli and Smith & Daughters in Melbourne. Her food is just phenomenal. The details in this book were stunning. Outside the library, they had a gallery of artworks from VCE students, and I especially loved this photography piece on the dualities of motherhood. Hello, I am coming to you today from the corner of my bedroom as my daughter sleeps in the next room, and I'm trying to be super quiet. So just bear with me. So, week 5, I've written down a favorite quote that really resonated with me this week. And I've got my laptop next to me here, and I'll just read it out to you. It says, by holding lightly to an attitude of gentle exploration, we can begin to lean into creative expansion. By replacing no way with maybe, we open the door to mystery and magic. This newly positive attitude is the beginning of trust. I've noticed that as I go from one week to the next in the artist's way, I'm just a little bit more adventurous with what I allow myself to do each week and a bit more carefree, and I just let myself have fun. I think I've given myself a permission slip to let myself wander and not force myself to stick to one type of creative activity that I have to grow and I have to get better at. Instead, I'm just in a state of exploration and it is quite freeing. In terms of my morning pages, I've been writing a lot about the realization that I used to spend a lot of my time daydreaming about which creative hobbies I could learn quickly to turn into a business and profit off of. It was just all about the business and finance side of things so that I wouldn't have to go back to a normal day job. And it was less about the passion or the interest, which in the long term can be really difficult to continue, especially for someone like me that really values that passion and that interest. Between the years of 2020 and 2022 ish, I actually had a small ceramic business called Clay and Chai. I've still got the Instagram account active, but I haven't really worked on the business in a while. I made functional and sculptural pieces, both on the wheel and hand built. But then I got really burnt out and just suddenly stopped. I went on an overseas trip, and then when I came back, I just couldn't bring myself to do it again. And exploring that is a whole different video in itself, I think. But nowadays, I find myself just thinking about what it felt like to work with clay and what it felt like to think of different ideas and then pick things up that have been fired from the kiln and choose glazes and then just the whole surprise element of what it's going to turn out like when it comes out of the kiln. All these little things that I miss that are not so much about the final outcome or the money or the customers or anything like that. It's just more about how it made me feel. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing to come out of this week's morning pages. That feeling of just missing the joy that comes out of making something. I've actually got one of the last pieces I made before I stopped ceramics altogether, just sitting on the windowsill in front of me here. I'll show you this vase. It doesn't fit much in it, but this is one of my favorite things that I've ever made. It's sort of inspired by the Alice in Wonderland bottle, you know, the one that says "Drink Me" on it. But instead, I've put like vines and leaves all over it. But yeah. Moving on to week 6, I've got 2 favorite quotes this week. The first one is, "What we really want to do is what we are really meant to do." Maybe I'll just read you just my reflections on this quote. I've written down, "I often feel lost in life, and I'm sure many other people do too." This quote is just so simple at affirming that maybe it's not that deep, it's not that complicated. Listen to your interests, however small or silly you might think they are, and listen to your gut. Just follow those breadcrumbs and see where it'll take you. I like that one a lot. The next quote I've got is, "Much of what we do in a creative recovery may seem silly. Yes, art estates are silly. That's the whole point. Creativity lives in a paradox. Serious art is born from serious play." This is essentially a permission slip for anyone who needs it. It's a permission slip to not overthink it, just play, have fun. If it feels good, do it. In terms of my morning pages for week 6, I wasn't really good at sticking to it. I probably did my morning pages every 2 to 3 days. I was struggling with my mental health a lot these last couple of weeks. My anxiety's been at an all time high, and my low mood has been pretty challenging. It's been pretty rampant every single day, especially in the mornings when I start my day. So, morning pages has been really hard to do, even though I probably need to do it now more than ever. It's just one of those things, hey. Hopefully, I'll be able to stick to it more in the coming weeks and do them every day, but I'm not going to be harsh on myself or force myself into doing them. I'm not going to guilt myself. It is what it is, but I have done my best this week, and yeah, nothing more to report really.